G'day, one and all. Welcome along to another Screaming Meals commentary brought to you by yours truly. Obviously the boys both racing abroad today, so just my sole self. G'day Sabine, how you going? Here we go, feature race. Behrman on pole. How good. We're going to go through some highlights now from yesterday. We're going to have a quick look back over the weekend. If you're following along on Sky Sports, like I am, or Now TV, so it's probably a bit delayed. Just throwing out some shade there at Now TV. So, yeah, getting some replays of Behrman on pole. Second out of 3 races, the young man has put it on pole and didn't get a lap in Monaco, so it was kind of robbed of an opportunity there. So good shit, really good shit from Ollie Behrman. Love to see it. Couldn't be happening to a nicer bloke, so that's always good. We're getting a replay of Novalak's outrageous move around the outside of T1 yesterday. How good was that? And then Stanek trying to repeat the issue, but no cigar. We're going to go. I'll try and make a bit more of an effort to be educational today, rather than just talk about myself. But if we do get a few dull moments, then we'll delve into some shenanigans. So, right, if you're trying to sync up, we've got the aerial view of the circuit at the moment on the telly, going through the track map and explaining the change at the last 2 corners there, which are popular among everyone. Somebody's first time watching F2, apparently. Well, you're in the right place, because the way I commentate it may as well be my first time watching F2 as well. Get some replays of last year. Derwin on Vesti at turn 1. So what turn is this? This is Novalak on Lawson at turn 4. I guess that's turn 4. I'll try and make a note of that, because that's probably helpful information in a commentary. Then, yeah, replays. How did everyone enjoy yesterday's race? Pretty good. Any predictions that anyone's got, throw those out there. And don't give me a prediction for a win. I want to get a prediction for P7, just to be a bit obscure, because anyone can predict a winner, but if you can predict a P7, that's hats off to you. A few people saying Clem P7, yeah, fuck, well, I'll take that. He's feeling pretty confident actually after his exploits yesterday, so that's good. We like that from Clemogio. Don't know what the pace is really going to be like in the dry, to be honest, outside of the qualifying indication, which was a bit of a shit show for us. But we're going to go through the starting grid now, speaking of which. So it's Oliver Behrman, pole, next to Enzo Fittipaldi and his Carlin, P2. And then it'll be Jack Doohan with a great starting position for him this year, P3. And then Ayumo Iwaza, 4th. 5th, Teo Porcher in car number 5, alongside Dennis Hauger, Formula 3 champion from the year before last. And last year's Formula 3 champion Victor Martins will line up 7th next to yesterday's race winner Frederic Vesti. Then it's Jackie Moon or Jacques Lunet lining up P9 ahead of Maury Cordial with what's surely his best qualifying performance of the year in P10. For sure, 11th next to Arthur Leclerc, who will be hoping for a better weekend than last. Kushmani, he will be P13 next to friend of the show Juan Manuel Correa in P14. Then it's another friend of the show, Jehan Daravala in P15 alongside Ralph Boschong, the Swiss driver. And then it's a all Trident row in row 9, 17th and 18th for Stanek and Novalak. Then it's an all Red Bull 10th row of Isaac Hadjar and Zane Maloney. And then it's Nisani and Brad Benavides. And an all PHM back row bringing up the rear of the grid. Who's excited? Yeah, good. That was a lot of talking. I feel like I can probably just pack up now. But the rolling lap, the feature Race rolling lap is now underway. If you're trying to sync up, the cars are rolling around. So somebody's father still hasn't realised that this isn't the real commentary, which is quite funny. Probably has now. At least you'd hope so. Otherwise, I mean, you really are, you're not doing much right if that's the case. As we've seen Jack Doohan. So I'm excited for. I reckon Jack Doohan could be a bit of a dark horse here. And I hate to bet against Behrman. I think he could be. He could really be the ones making the move down into T1 because it's a long run and he's on the clean side of the track behind Behrman, who won't have a toe if he does things right, going into the first corner. So watch out for Jack Doohan to be making a move at the start of this race. Also, I'll note a shot of tequila. Today we will get some tyre dig playing a big factor in how this shit turns out. So something to think about. Looks like most people are starting on the soft. So they might be rid of those on about lap 7. Sorry, I'm just listening to Ollie Behrman speaking. The B-man has spoken. Come on, Ollie B. Give it heaps, son. So Vesti leads the championship. He's starting off P8. The Great Dane, Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo! As he shall now be referred to. Alright, so final tyre warm-ups. Ollie's just bringing the car up to his grid position now. If you're trying to sync up, stop the car, bang, on the nose. Now Enzo Fittipaldi stops. Might be waiting a while here. It's quite a long warm-up lap. So now it's quite interesting that the sun is on the inside of the track. So it'll actually be a warmer tarmac on the inside line there. So what is deemed the impreferable side of the track to be on as far as grip and dirt and all that kind of shit, that remains true. Bit more heat on the right-hand side of the grid there. So that could be a little bit of a leveler. As the green flag waves at the rear of the grid and we get the lights starting to go on. Come on, Behrman! And it's a pretty solid start from pretty much everyone. Behrman immediately covers over to the right. Fittipaldi, it's going to be 3 wide, and Iwasa's looking like he could be the one to make a move. And could Pourchaire throw it down the inside of them all? No. Behrman escorts Fittipaldi to the yellow paint of the Pirelli advertising there and retakes the lead. Geez, being pushy, old Ollie. Enzo Fittipaldi might be a bit fired up there as he has another little bit of a sniff around the outside of turn 4. No cigar, sir. And here, he's going to have to be careful of Pourchaire here. And can Teo go all the way around the outside? I don't think he will. I think he's going to be showing the curb. And it's going to be Behrman from Fittipaldi, Pourchaire. And then I believe it's Ayumu Iwasa ahead of Doohan in 5th. Dennis Hauger, Patrick Swayze, P6. Martins, Crawford. That's a good start from him. Here we go. Ayumu Iwasa already on the defensive from Jack Doohan. So he's looking a little bit pacey at the start of this race. And he's going to try and flirt around the outside and he gets it done. Oh, take a bow, Jack Doohan. That was an outrageous move. He's not done yet, but I think it's all over now. What a move from Jack Doohan. Outrageous. That was fucking grouse. What a backbone. Throw some backbones in the chat for Jack Doohan. That was a stunner. And Novalax had a fucking nightmare of a start. He's in P21. He's been done by the 2 PHM cars, and now he's been done by Hadjar, who's in the pit. This isn't looking good, folks. This is looking suboptimal, to put it lightly. And it looks like it's probably the case that Hadjar's come together with Clem. And well, hopefully we get a replay of that. But yeah, puncture by Hadjar, bravo is the words from Novalak. So there'll be some sore asses there, I'm sure. Well, that's a fucker, team. No two ways about it. But we'll keep our fingers crossed that some shit goes down and we're back in the hunt. But yeah, Hadjar being as usual. I'm not going to keep my mouth shut on that one. And so we're going to return to the race here now. We're going to have a look at Stanek. Now, he's up 3 spots in the Trident. So that's a better start than Clem, to say the least. Oh yeah, so they're going over an interesting storyline in the actual commentary here. Is Fittipaldi shapes for a move. One is jetting straight to Le Mans at the conclusion of this race to get in the car and do a session in the LMP2 for Prema. As Haug is escorted off the road at turn 1 now by Ayumu Owaza, so the 2 Red Bull chappies going at it hammer and tong. Owaza looks absolutely stationary slow. Really looks to be struggling early on in the race here, but we're going to get a replay of the race start here. And so it was good. It was a good launch from Owaza, probably the best of the bunch. And Doohan didn't really get a chance to get into that sort of front row contesting. But Behrman, nice and under control. Like I said, does show Fittipaldi the exit a little bit there, but he's perfectly entitled to it. It's his corner. He's on the inside in the lead, so that's all good as far as I'm concerned. So is somebody saying is JM in 10th? Is one more than 10th? Be a pretty good effort. I think he qualified quite well though. Yeah. Old JMC up in P10. 6/10 off the back end of Vesti. So almost a second now between Behrman and Fittipaldi. So he's not too far off breaking that DRS, and you do get the feeling that if he does break away from the DRS range from Fittipaldi, then it's going to be swift work from Porsche to swallow him up if he stays in his DRS range. But this is all hypothetical. Crawford holding out in P8. So Clem is 59 seconds off the back of the PHM cars. Yeah, it's going to be a long afternoon. What else is going on here? I mean, we've sort of reached that point in the race now, in an F2 race, where sort of tyres become the issue, and it does get a bit sleepy. As Hauger pulls a tear off his face. DRS open. I've got a bit of an early fear that this could just become what Barcelona always has been. It turns into just a bit of a DRS train, and it kind of half becomes about tyre wear halfway through the race and at the end of the race. There's a lot of marbles there already, actually. We saw in the F3 race, if you did watch that, Gabriele Mini going ever so slightly offline and getting a shitload of pickup on his tyres. So that could be a factor as we progress through the afternoon or the morning, depending on where you're watching. Reading a bit of a chat here. Tell us about Monaco. Yeah. I'll need to rack my brain on that one to actually see if I can think of some stories that no one's going to be upset with me for telling. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. Basically, we ended up, Marcus was a bit of a hero. He hooked up a connection with somebody who runs a company called... Actually, I won't drop a minute. Runs a company that does sort of lots of VIP entertainment, all that kind of stuff. And the contact reached out to me and was like, "Oh, can you get some drivers to come on our yacht?" And I went, "Sure." And so that's the short version of the story. And so I was a bit confused because I was thinking, well, like, you know, if you've got a yacht, why do you want like me and my degenerate mates to show up and entertain people? Is Vesti's looking to move and make it? Vesti's down the inside of Jackie Moon there for P8. He'll take that away. Both starting on the hard tyre, so no advantage there for either one of them on rubber. And Jack's going to have another little bit of a go around the outside, but I think he's going to have to let that fish go. Where was I? Yeah, so we got one of those. And I was like, there's so many like cooler people around. And so we get onto this boat. And there was like no other drivers I knew there. And I was kind of looking around. And then I realised quite quickly that all of the other drivers were probably resting and chilling out. And I was in a rare position of knowing the right people who don't do that sort of thing on a race weekend, to go and shake a few hands, grease a few palms, and talk some shit with some high net worth individuals on a super yacht. So look, lucked out. Massive amounts of imposter syndrome. I had absolutely no right to be on a super yacht watching the Monaco Grand Prix, but when these things come up, you've just got to take them with both hands, be happy it happened. As Boschon pits now on lap 7, so he obviously must have started on that soft tyre, which is interesting. So he first one to pit. I would have thought that more people would have just been screaming to get this soft tyre off, but Ralph's the first one to take up the offer. Let's see what the pit stop's like here from Campos. Relatively smooth so far. Oh, slow on the right rear, and fuck, he spun the wheels up on the stand. That might be a penalty. Ralph. Because I like the strategy from him. Armstrong got in trouble for that last year, spinning the wheels up on the stand. He actually basically ripped one of his high-tech mechanics' hands off. He could... Don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this. And he couldn't work for like 9 months. Not off. It didn't like come off. He like broke a lot of bones in the guys. It was grim. And yes, poor guy couldn't work for fucking months. Don't know why I'm laughing. So yeah. I think Marcus brought him more than a few cases of beers after that. Yeah, so that's why you get a penalty for spinning your wheels up on the stand. Armstrong's just been absolutely dropped in it. And speaking of Marcus Armstrong, I'm going to be back online doing the IndyCar later on. So if anyone's interested in that, you do feel more than welcome to tune in. Tell your friends. IndyCar is going to be wild this evening in the UK. If you ask me, I think that track is fucking sketchy. Sketchier than Vincent van Gogh. And there's going to be some carnage. So tune into that. Get the sense there might be a few red flags, so I might need to tell you a few more stories from Monaco. Maybe I can bribe you with those. Vesti's noted for track limits, so that's quite early on in the race to be getting these sorts of warnings. So he's gonna have to really keep that more towards the front of his mind for the remainder of the 29 laps we've got left to go here. He's right on board with Richard for sure. Richard for sure is very tall. Yeah, I think he's just a touch taller than me even. That front right tyre's looking a shade messy. So we return to the front and it's still, I don't think I've talked about it enough. Maybe it's subconscious. Oh, someone's off in the background. I think it's one. He's run right into the gravel. He's dropped 4 spots and it just breaks your heart. And he's going to get swallowed up by Daravala and the MP as well. And Maloney. Oh, it was all going so well. Drat. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Behrman. Still out in front. Now he has broken out of the DRS with Fittipaldi. He's not galloped away. But he has just built that up to a nice comfortable gap now. And he seems to be doing a pretty good and fine job of just controlling the race. Yeah, one pretty honest and holding his hands up there and going, yeah, I fucked it in the last turn. Description fits the bill. I mean, he hasn't got much of an excuse on that one. So he's going to have to rebuild from P16, but still early doors in this race, lap 9 of 37. So who's stopped? So obviously Hadjar and Novalak had to come in after Hadjar ran into the back of Clem. And Boschong stopped early. He's still circulating out there. Oh! Pourchaire bringing some heat into pit lane. Absolutely squirreling the thing, trying to get it stopped. And we'll keep our eyes on the steward's board there. He might be done for speeding, but hopefully not. As he's interchanged tyres along with Owaza. So a few more takers to get those softs off on lap 10 here of 37. Pourchaire and Owaza, the 2 front runners coming in. And then... or 2 of the front runners, I should say. And a clean stop from ART. A really nice stop from ART, actually. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on the stewarding boards there. That was reminiscent of Marcus Armstrong at Monza last year. Pitzilla, we called that incident, where he broke about 7 different rules within the space of 14 seconds, if that. I think you're meant to go through at 80 kilometers an hour, and he crossed the stripe at something like 137. Oh, I love that child. All right, so looking back at the front, so it's Hauger now. He's inherited P4 on the road, but bear in mind we do just have Owaza and Pourchaire into the pits. And Fittipaldi's going to dive in. He's going to rid the soft tyre. Now, how strong is the undercut-overcut crossover going to be here? It'll be an interesting yardstick to see how he measures up against Pourchaire, because he was 3rd, wasn't he? And Doohan's in also, and Hauger's in also. When it rains, it pours. So it'll be an interesting indication to see how Behrman's going to fare out, if presuming all goes okay with his pit stop. Tyres back on for Fittipaldi. A little slow on the rear, but not so bad at all. So it'll be, how does he shape out against Pourchaire? That'll be a real indication to see how strong the overcut-undercut is. Fittipaldi's come out with 3 seconds. 9/10, no. Oh, now this isn't a good sign for Ollie Behrman. So it looks... Okay, so yeah, Behrman's going to be in this lap. So coming out on the cold tyres, so yeah, here we go. Now we're looking at the battle between Fittipaldi and Pourchaire. Now hopefully this slows the 2 of them up just a little bit and Behrman can maximise his outlap. And he's not going to box. Interesting. So he's gonna really take his trousers down and flop it on the table here, for lack of a better expression, Ollie Behrman, and he's going to go for another lap and see what he can get out of this soft tyre. They look absolutely deduced. That right front looks like a tractor tyre. So Porcher's not managed to get by Fittipaldi, who looks a little bit oversteery through the second to last corner there. Okay, so now confirmation that Behrman's going to come in at the end of this lap. Now, I wouldn't half mind it if Porcher has a bit of a sniff here. Soak up a little bit of lap time. And here he goes. He's going to lock up. He's going to run wide. Does he go around the right side of the bollard? He's going to. Yep, the stewards will like that. And that's going to slow both of them down. And there's a time penalty, a 10-second penalty for car 10. Who's car 10? Oh, Hadjar. Oh, well, that sounds about right. And a black and white flag for Maloney, track limits. We saw one of those for Vesti earlier on. Porcher really threw the kitchen sink at that one. He's dropped right off the back of Enzo Fittipaldi now. So, time penalty there for Isaac Hadjar for that Frenchman on Frenchman action that we didn't get to see on lap 1. But stewards basically telling us all we need to know there with the 10-second penalty issued to Hadjar. And somebody else pits. And it looks to be Stanek. And Behrman stayed out for another one. He said, pour me another, barkeep, says Behrman. But Rogue. Not so sure about that. But what do I know? I'm just an insurance broker. All right, so we see Stanek now in for a new set of tyres. New boots go on, and out of the pits he goes on his way. And we're seeing a move here. It looks to be Leclerc going on Cordeal all the way around the outside. Nice move. Oh, and he's been absolutely shown the curbing. I don't know if that was that bad, to be fair. I don't know if that was that bad. So Behrman's he's still out in front. This is very odd. And now Behrman pits. All right, it's got to be a good one from here from Prema. Not bad. Pretty good. Pretty decent. So, now where is he going to come out? Now, he's stopped right at the beginning of the pit lane. So he's got a long old run on his way out. And he's out now. He's back. He's getting back up to speed. And it looks like he's going to have Fittipaldi covered in spades. He's got 4 seconds to him now. 3.5 seconds to him now. That might come down back to about 1 as he gets the tyres up to temperature. But Oliver Behrman and Prema done a bloody good job there. Hats off. Well done, team. Now, Behrman's got to hope that Benavides gets a little bit tired pretty soon because he's only 1.8 seconds off the back of him and he's not going to get stuck, not going to want to get stuck behind him for too long. Come on the B, man. How good. What a backbone. Backbone B, man. Fittipaldi, okay, yeah, so Fittipaldi's right on his tail now. And he has left, yeah. He's left Porcher for dead. Because Porcher really seemed to throw his kitchen sink at that move there when he tried to make it happen. And Behrman, why is Behrman's not opened his DRS? Use it. Turn your DRS on, son. Fucking hell. But I think he might be alright, you know. But they are going to have to clear some traffic. I mean, it's not going to be all smooth sailing. Because if you're on the hard tyre, you definitely don't want to be coming in for a set of softs anytime immediately soon. So, yeah, he's going to have to work for this one, Ollie Behrman, but, I mean, it's a Formula 2 feature race win. I mean, nobody said that they come easy. Armstrong tried for 3 years, couldn't make it work. He should have been pole yesterday. I was fucking furious about that. So Deruval is 7th on the road. So let's look at the strategy game. So it's Behrman leading the prime. I can't do prime option. I get confused. I hate it when the racing drivers and people go a prime and the option. Like dyslexic people like myself can ever remember which one is which. Just like hard and soft. It's so much easier to understand because prime and option are both like. They're good work. They're good. Oh, it's the option, or oh, it's the prime. Or which one's better, the option or the prime? They both sound great. Just give me hard or soft. That's what she said. So it's it's Behrman leading the soft hard strategy, and it's Martin's leading the presumably hard soft strategy. And Behrman's got through mining. And Porsche making now a move on Benavides, it seems. So I wonder if he's going to recover that pace back. 'Cause he was pretty rapid out the box. But really fell off the back of Fittipaldi after he tried to make that move. But he's back within a second now as they go through the traffic. Prime is soft, or I don't know. I think Prime is soft. Softs. I don't. Why prime option hard soft? What are they like? Red, white, stripe. Like how many names do you need for one thing? That's another thing that pisses me off. And this is I'm going complete. Oh my fucking god, Nissani! Why did He's almost just harpooned the B-man off the road from the lead. Heavens! Whew. Anyway, that's another thing that pisses me off. Is when different languages have different names for countries and cities. Like, why did Roma, when we say Rome, but the Italians say Roma, but it's their thing. Shouldn't we just call it what they want to call their shit? It's like, your colleague brings their baby into the office and you go, oh, what's the name? They go, oh, Henry. And you go, oh, I'm going to call him Jacob because he's not my kid, so why would I call him what you call him? It's stupid. Why don't we just use everyone's local language when it comes to their local cities? It's moronic. So we're going to get a replay of something else moronic, and that's fucking... I think Nissani actually let go of the wheel at some point there. Fucking hell, Roy. So they're calling the Martin strategy the alternative strategy. I mean, I've been watching motorsport for years. I really should know these things. And I feel like on some level I do, but, you know. So Behrman now, he's swung up to the back of Maloney, it looks like, who's also got DRS from Dorovala, so this might not be as straightforward as it could be. Hopefully the team's on the radio to Maloney saying, look, just don't be a dick, mate. And it looks like he's not going to make things too difficult for him, so a doff of the cap, sir, to Zane Maloney there for not being too much of a pain in the ass. Something happening in the background. Do it! He's made a move on the porch chair. Jack Doohan, who put that absolute stonker on Owaza at the start of the race, recovering P4. is we're going to get a replay over here. This might be relatively just a straightforward DRS overtake. But to be credit to him, I mean, Porsche had DRS in the toe as well. So got to be doing something. You'd have a pretty decent pace advantage to pull that off. Pretty much, almost what you'd call like a 2009 overtake. No DRS, not even KERS or anything like that. 2008 overtake. I'm really showing my age here now. As Awaza's going to put a move on Miney. So what's going on? What's cooking? So Behrman's right on the back of Daruvula now. And that's going to be nice and clean for him as well. So, but Fittipaldi again, he's just anything you can do, I can do too. He's really making this one move at a time for each of them. So, no real gain for Behrman in this phase of traffic, but no loss either, which is all good news for the young man from Chelmsford. Great friend of the show, although he's never been on an episode or any really much piece of content with us. But that's not his fault. That's above our pay grade. But and it's going to be... Miney seems to be struggling a bit here because now he's going to have Patrick Swayze going around the outside of him at turn 5 like candy from a baby, actually. He's not having a fun time out there. Someone else who's not having a good time is Clement Novalak. God, he's going to get so steamed tonight. So we've got a 3-week break now after this. So, hey, more content coming your way. Folks, fans of the show, friends of the show. And there's whispers of a cold wind blowing into London carrying certain Mr. Marcus Armstrong in the next couple of days after Detroit. Rumours at this stage, but you heard it here first. So Behrman's through on Cordeal now, but Daruvala's coming to the pit, so no need for an overtake from Enzo Fittipaldi on that front. And it looks like a fine enough stop from MP. You're going to get a replay here of Doohan making another move, this time on Nisani. As we return to the on-track front of the field, I don't know if that's an expression. Amaury Cordeal takes 5 seconds for something. Track limits, apparently. So Martin's staying out in front. So, I mean, still 17 laps to go. That's still further on the softs than I'd care to do. But I don't know how to drive a Formula 2 car, so I actually wouldn't really care to do anything. Make of that what you will. Martin's. Read some of the comments yesterday, by the way. Look, I'll hold my hands up when I'm wrong. I thought it was going to be a close competition between Hauger and Martins for who's the hottest, but the chat predominantly on the upswing for Dennis Hauger, a.k.a. Patrick Swayze. And hey, look, fair enough, he's a hot dude, but I mean, an honourable mention at least for Victor Martins. I mean, he's pretty hot. Owaza, how's his race shaping up? He really struggled in the beginning. He's running P10 at the moment. And not for long, though, perhaps, as it looks to be... Whoa! Getting close there through turn 4 as Maloney and Owaza is all over the back of the boy from Barbados for P9 on the road. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with a bit of the chat here. Yeah, some defence being thrown in there for Victor Martins. Drive-through penalty. Who's this for? Car 17. Benavides. Oh well. Behrman's still with the fastest lap, so he's putting together another real performance here, and he's got now 3.4, almost 3.5 seconds to Enzo Fittipaldi, and now has clean air in front of him. 9 seconds to Leclerc, who's probably going to stop before Behrman gets too close to him. So it looks to be just doing another fine old job. Does Ollie Behrman. As Awaz is on the move again, goes around the outside of Cordeal this time in turn 3. It's another nice move. Or no, it's not another nice. Sorry, it's a move. He hasn't got by Maloney yet. As Daruvula puts in the fastest lap, nicks it away from Ollie Behrman, but that is to be expected on the alternate strategy, as we've all learned together today. Is what it's called when you start on the hard time, put on the soft later on. Whether that be optional or prime, I still don't know. And Patrick Swayze almost sort of flirting with the back end of Cordeal there. Appropriately, Patrick Swayze sort of almost dancing, sort of waltzing with his nose cone against the gearbox as they go through a bit of a twisty section of the Circuit de Barcelona, or Catalunya in Barcelona. See, that was what I was talking about, with like pronouncing the city properly. Because British people would say Barcelona, which is incorrect. Spanish people call it, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again. You get my point. As Leclerc pits from P5 on the road, so let's see where he comes out. So Behrman now inherits back P5 on the road. Net race leader, as they refer to it. But is Martins doing a good enough job out front where he could challenge Behrman for the lead towards perhaps the end of this race? Maloney radio. Didn't catch it. This is how he's struggling on his hards, apparently. It just wisped off the television. Lap 23 of 37, if you're trying to sync up. Going through turn 5 now. What we're looking at is not the leader. We're looking at Jack Doohan on the back of Maloney. What else happened in Monaco? Met Mitch Evans. Made a dick himself. I got so drunk on Friday night. And I actually kind of spooked myself. Because I was... This is the story from how I see it. Or how I saw it. I was drinking wine on the pier. I was drinking rosé on the pier. Next to the F2 paddock. Having a wonderful time. And then I woke up in Monton. Feeling like I'd been shot. So that was the night from my perspective. That's what happened on Friday. Yeah. Yeah, that was suboptimal. I'll put it that way. So we're going to get some blending out here. So Vishor's going to come out of the pits. As Leclerc makes a move on Boschong, who's really struggling now. I said actually, I feel like a bit of a buffoon for saying earlier that I quite liked his strategy, but it turns out it was an absolute fucking nightmare. So just Martins and Vesti left to stop now. With 13 laps to go. Now, I mean, that seems like a sensible number of laps for a soft tyre. And only it's a 17-second gap to Behrman. If you'll pardon the pun, I don't think the bear's out of the woods here, ladies and gentlemen. Because those soft tyres are going to be fucking worth something. So there, through goes Behrman. A pretty decent gap. And they're going to have to... They're going to have to get through Enzo Fittipaldi. And I believe maybe Maloney. Or at least Pourchaire. No, Pourchaire. You're going to have to get through me first. But they will. I mean, they're on much, much faster tyres. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so now there is a decent amount of traffic to get through. So Vesti's behind Hauger, who we're on board with now, looking at the back of Maloney. Maloney's hoping for a safety car. I like the strategy. Yeah, interesting. Interesting underwriting philosophy from Zane Maloney there. Is Patrick Swayze's not making easy work of him. And he seems to really sort of be holding up Vesti's progress on his new brand spanking new soft tyres. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, as he is now known on the show. So Scoob's just going to have to back off the throttle here. He doesn't want any issues running into the last corner, as Martins now stops for freshies. And he's out of the lane. So where's he going to rejoin? He might. I think his teammate Pourchaire will get him, but he might hold on to a top 6 here. And Scooby-Dooby-Doo's down the inside of 2 Red Bull drivers at once. Lovely move from the Mystery Ink Man himself. That was a great move. So Vesti now progresses to P7 behind Pourchaire, who I think he should get by pretty quickly. So the B-man out in front with 11 to go. From Fittipaldi, Owaza, Doohan, who are all on the same strategy as him. And then it's Martins, who's probably going to be his biggest headache in P4 or 5 there. Sorry, they took away the leaderboard just as I went down that rhetoric, because we're going to get a replay of Scoob putting the move on Patrick Swayze and Zane Maloney. Nicely done. I mean, huge grip advantage. Maloney kind of throws in the white towel pretty early, and then Scooby has his work cut out to get by Hauger, but gets it done. And now he's immediately on the back end of the Pourchaire. And this is going to be easy pickings for Scooby-Dooby-Doo here. In the Mystery Mobile. Is that what they called the van? Was it the Mystery Mobile? Someone could help me out in the chat there. Yep, that's what they called it. So the number 7 Mystery Mobile progresses to P6, so remains second on that alternative strategy. So it's now P5 and P6 for those two punters. They've got so they're about a second and a half away from each other on the road. They've got, as it stands, about 1.2 seconds to Doohan. 1.3, but I'm just assuming that is. Who's got 4 seconds to Owaza, who's got 3 seconds to 3.5 seconds to Fittipaldi, who's got 3.5 seconds to Behrman. So they're net about 11, 12 seconds off the back end of Behrman as it stands with 10 to go. So they're going to need at least 1.05 seconds per lap advantage on Behrman to realistically catch him. Is that going to be possible with the traffic and with tyre degradation and all that kind of shit? We don't know, but that's why we watch. There's only one way to find out, and it's we're going to have to hurry up and wait on that one. It's a pit lane incident for Cordeal now. I believe he didn't have a drive-through. He got 10 seconds earlier. There's some fastest laps being pumped in there by Victor Martins, and then immediately followed up by Scooby-Dooby-Doo. And Martins makes light work of Doohan and takes P4. Good to see. Good to see after a bit of a shit show for Victor Martins last week. And I touched on it yesterday. I don't think that incident was actually as much his fault and horrible as some people made it out to be. Still not good though. Fucking poor. I used the expression before, sketchier than Vincent van Gogh. That was sketchier than the fucking whole museum. Right, so we're riding on board now with Scooby-Doo, and he's now behind Doohan. As Novalak gets past Mighty somehow. It is now back to P19 where he started. Hadjar 10 seconds ahead of him with a 10-second penalty in P18. As we get Scooby-Dooby-Doo going around the outside of Doohan. There's a joke there to be made and strung together, I'm sure. Scooby-Dooby-Doohan. There you go, that's what it is. So Novalak back to where he started in P19 after absolutely no courtesy shown by the angry little Frenchman that is Isaac Hadjar. As his teammate Crawford advances to P13 on the road. And here's a replay of the incident, which we will dub Scooby-Dooby-Dooing. Yeah, he's just got so much tyre. And Jack knows it. He's a smart cookie about that kind of thing. He'll back off the gas, let him get up the road, and continue to save what he can out of his Pirelli rubber. As we return to some shots of Ollie Behrman at the front, going through the S's, looks to be taking it relatively easily, sort of being treating those tyres how he would like to be treated. As Mother always said. I'm paraphrasing a bit. My mum didn't say that to me, but still out in front, still. What's the gap now? Eyes forward, say the Prema team to Scooby-Dooby-Doo and the Mystery Inkmobile. I wonder how awkward this becomes for Prema quite quickly with Behrman out in front. A sort of Rosberg-Hamilton situation, if you will. As Hadjar's now in the pit exit, you can see him there. He might get in the way. And he's no stranger to being a pain in the ass. So that could hinder anyone, actually. As Benavides gets another, there's a lot of penalties being thrown around in this race. Stanek now the 13th as Maloney pits. So Maloney's safety car has not come. So the strategy there at Carlin, somewhat blowing up in its own face. They're not going to get what they wanted. And I was going to have a look at the gap. So what's the gap now? So it's 2 seconds Martins to Awanza, and another 2 seconds to Fittipaldi, and then 4.2 to Behrman. So it's 8 seconds the gap, 8.5 seconds the gap now, with 7 to go. So how's that trending on where we looked at it earlier? Well, for Behrman. Behrman, yeah, the pace differential is trending in just about the right direction for Oliver Behrman. If we're looking at the statistics of it off the top of my head, because I won't explain my maths, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. But they say it's a real game of cliffs with these tyres. I mean, when they go, they really go. So I used the expression before, the bear's not out of the woods yet, and it still remains true. And the stewards have got some more things to say about Brad Benavides failing to serve time penalties incorrectly. I mean, it's not happening for him. As Novalak loses a position to Miney, he's now dropped to P18 on the road. 1 minute and 4 seconds off the lead. How long's the lap? Probably. I don't think he'll get lapped, unless he stops. Then he'll get lapped. So Vesti's 3/10 quicker than Martins. So throw that into the mix as well. Get that in your smoothie. See how it changes the flavour. So it could get, to continue that analysis, it could get juicy between those two. Great chat. So you can now, so they're sort of now on the same straight as they come down that, the end of the second sector going into the third straight. If that helps paint a picture, I don't know if it does. I could use time because that actually we can all relate to that. Here's a replay of Jacques Lunet going around the outside of Juan Manuel Correa at turn 1, and he's going to be showing the exit road, and he's not going to rejoin properly. So that's going to be 5 seconds coming the way of Jacques Lunet. Oh no! Oh, he's smart boy. He's remembered it. Well done. So as we return on board of the Mystery Mobile, in P5, looking at the back of Victor Martins, who is quicker than is Scooby-Doo. And it's Behrman still holding that 4.4 second advantage out in front. And now it's 6 seconds. Iwasa back to Fittipaldi. So the gap has actually increased between, because Martins is being held up by Iwasa a bit, I think. So the gap's now increased to about 10.3 seconds with 5 to go. So I think we're looking okay. I'm going to say no more than that because I'm not putting a curse on anyone. But I think the maths look good for a certain driver if nothing goes wrong. Right, so here's how they run. With no more stops to be made, it's Behrman, Fittipaldi, Iwasa, Martins and Vesti both charging within the top 10, top 5 even. Doohan P6, Pourchaire P7, Patrick Swayze at 8, Leclerc 9th, Vishaw rounding out your points paying positions in 10th. Then it's Juan Manuel Correa, who should have been up there actually, in P11, Crawford, Stanek, Deruvala in P14, Bosch on 15th, 16th for Nissani, 17th Miney, 18th Maloney, 19th Novak, where he started, and then presumably Isaac Hadjar in the P20. And then there's 2 more who aren't on my page. But so now we're looking at the back of Iwasa, so still staying in front of Victor Martins. And dare I say that Ollie Behrman owes him a couple of cervezas after this one. Because neither of them can seem to clear the man in the Dams car, who's had some rapid top end actually this year. Iwasa's always been pretty strong down the chute. So these fellas kind of struggling to get by him as Scooby-Dooby-Doo shapes for a move on Victor Martins, but doesn't quite throw it in there. But it's almost just a sort of a gesture to say, right there, Jimmy, you better pull your finger out because I've got some soft tyres too. So again, Martins just, at fear of speaking too soon, he just, even with the DRS, he's just fucking nowhere down the chute. Which, if you were tuned in, was a little bit of a lock-up down in there into T1 as well from Martins. Really starting to perhaps feel the pressure from Scooby-Doo behind him. You were saying earlier in the year, the ARTs just looked unbeatable in a straight line, but Iwasa, with no DRS, has just got an absolute gun. And the guys behind him don't seem to have an answer for the straight line speed. And he's basically just giving it up to the boy Behrman, who's got 3 to go. So 34 of 37 here, folks. And I'm starting to get excited. Clem's apparently stopped again. But what difference does that really make at this point? Clem's having just as good a race as Jack Crawford from a mathematical point of view. So, I mean, that's a really positive way to look at it. Maybe overly positive, but who am I to say? All right, so Martin's going to get another go here on Owaza. He looks a little bit closer with the DRS, and surely, late cover from Owaza, but Martins is now just going to get it done. But holy shit, how fast is that Dams? I'm not gonna start throwing anything around here, but how rapid is that thing in a straight line? So Martin's now freed to go after the second spot on the podium of Fittipaldi, but I think that might be as far as he manages it. Because Behrman's just managed this thing to an absolute T, showing the class that he is. And I hope that doesn't ring too transparent, because I'm sure that you all know that he's a good pal of mine, and I like him a lot. But, I mean, you really can't argue with... Okay, Monaco was probably a bit of an anomaly. Like I said earlier, he didn't really get a lap in qualifying, and that's all that really matters around that joint. But two dominant feature races in a row with the pole position to boot. I mean, Ferrari's got to really be starting to get a bit of a boner about Ollie Behrman. I know I am. Because that's he's absolutely fucking smashing it. Anyway, let's talk more about this battle for fourth. So it's Vesti getting a little bit ragged out of the last corner. And I don't think he's going to get by Owaza here with the kind of straight line speed that he's shown. And Hedger, who I said earlier in the proceedings is no stranger to being a pain in the ass, is right on the back of Vesti with even fresher tyres. And is Scooby-Doo going to have a go around the outside here? And he's going to get on the marbles. It's not going to get it done. Owaza doing a great job holding off the man on much quicker rubber. And he's really made shape of those tyres now. Scooby-Doo is struggling, dare I say. Last time out, the feature race winner, of course, Scooby-Doo in the Mystery Mobile. In a fantastic drive. But I'm going to continue my rap for Ollie Behrman, who's now, that gap is coming down a little bit from Fittipaldi. Or to Fittipaldi, I should say, with one on the clock next time round, which kind of, again, it kind of shows a bit of maturity from the young man. He knows he's sort of got it in the bag. He's not pushing too hard. He's not risking the car. He's not risking mistakes. An old head on young shoulders, you could say. Sound like his dad now. It's gone all mushy. But he really has done a fucking good job. You love to see it from such a nice guy. And so Vesti, dare I say, this might be his last shot at a P4 position. And Owaza again covers, and again, late on the picks. And Vesti, is he going to have another go around the outside? I don't know if that's wise. I think he's going to have to try and ghost around the outside and then switch back to the... He's going to have to try and come under if he can, but he can't. He's too wide. He hasn't got the grip in the front end. Front axle just sliding across the road. And even at turn 4, he's still absolutely nowhere near him. As Clement Novalak pumps in the fastest lap of the race. Have that on your tapas menu, you son of a bitch. How good. So Martins, now he's right on Fittipaldi now. And look, Behrman, again, he's just sort of cruising to another stonker. And Scooby-Doo is still just absolutely hacking away at the back end of Owaza, but just can't seem to make anything happen. And it's the B-man rounding out the last two corners, and he's gonna fucking do the thing. How about it? Oliver Behrman takes his second feature race win of the season, and And only 3 races, and it's going to be Clamogio, who's going to get Hadjar at the line for a fine. How do you do? Eat that, you fucking... I mean, it's over P17, but I feel like it's a pride thing after he was deprived of an afternoon by the angry little Frenchman on lap 1. I feel like he's now I'm going to call him Napoleon from now on. As we return to the race winner, Behrman, who's just got to be on cloud 9. I know I am. And I'm just mates with the guy. Ferrari's going to be loving it. We're going to get his radio here. Could we be seeing as Dave Behrman hugging the team there? Good bloke, Dave. I actually met Dave in a pub once at Lloyd's. He works in insurance. What a slap in the face for anyone trying to get Carlos Sainz's seat next year. At his home turf as well. Behrman with a dominant race win. He's just getting used to this now. This boy's just getting started. The Wizard, a friend of mine in Behrman's, has just texted me going, mate, what a result, with 2 love heart and eye emoji things. Couldn't agree with you more, Wiz. So many Alonso fans in the crowd. Hey, and actually, honourable mention, doff of the cap to Enzo Fittipaldi. That's a really strong result, though. That's a great result. P2 is right there all day. He really did have the pace, but just not enough to get past and up the road of Behrman. But he did really sort of keep him in check for most of the race. Strong pace, strong performance, great qualifying as well from him on the Friday there. And also, I will say, a thoroughly nice bloke, Enzo Fittipaldi. I've had a couple of chats to him. He is a really nice guy. So if you're an Enzo Fittipaldi fan, you're backing a good horse there. As we're going to hear from Scooby-Doo. Compliments to the team there, Frederick Vesti again, showing that professionalism that Mercedes will like to see in him. I mean, we were talking about boners earlier on in the stream there, and Mercedes is really going to have to start getting a little bit stiffer about Frederick Vesti as well if he carries on his performance. As we see Behrman now rolling in towards the number 1 spot in front of the Prema team. And he'll nudge the sign ever so gently to say, yep, ticked that one off. The douche. Another feature race win. What a massive backbone. Ollie Behrman. Stunner. Absolute stunner. What kind of celebrations is he going to go for? If he's going to keep up this sort of form, I'm going to start giving him criticism on his celebrations. I want to see like the footballer kind of come out in him, you know? Go. He's going to... Yeah, there he goes. Quite like that one. The start low, build him up and give it heaps up top. Rate that. I always said this to Armstrong, but unfortunately he doesn't win often enough. I really wanted to see like get out of the car, right? And then just none of that. Just get out of the car and then lie down on your front, like on your chest of the nose, and start doing like the surfboard thing, like start paddling, paddle, and then the pop up, and then do a bit of a surfy move like that. That would be a fucking sick race win celebration. So if I ever win a single-seater race, which is, as I get greyer, older and fatter, looks less and less likely, that's what you could expect to see from me. As we see Ollie Behrman lapping it up. It looks a bit knackered, to be fair, and fair enough too. I mean, he can enjoy 3 weeks off now after a strong performance and a strong bounce back from Monaco, where again he was sort of robbed of a good result by an early yellow flag, basically in a qualifying session, which is a bit of a shitter. But well, she is what she is. But Prema. So how many? So Prema's won 3 feature races in a row between the B-Man and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. So, I mean, we've heard it before, haven't we? It's not an unfamiliar story of Prema absolutely knocking it out of the park. So fair play to them. I mean, that seems like it's the chariot that you want this year. How good. How good. And also, a shout for Victor Martins, who, bouncing back after his own disappointments last week. Also a thoroughly nice bloke. I spent a bit of time with him in Clement Novalak's hotel room after the Australian Grand Prix. That's not as weird as it sounds. We're going to hear from Behrman.
Slow down. You stop getting my cold air. It feels a bit hot, but no, it was a really good race. The car was amazing today.
One of the for the team as well. What confidence does this give you for the rest of the season?
Yeah, that's 3 poles in a row now. 3 feature race wins in a row for the team, so amazing.
And 3 poles in a row as well as just pointed out. Sorry, I'm talking with my mouth full.
And that was that.
Short and sweet.
He's clearly keen to get to the podium there, and he wants to lift the trophy, Ollie Behrman.
We can have a look over a replay here of Behrman taking the flag. Well, I think we can pretty much wrap it up there, folks. Because I've got lunch with my parents and Ali. Oh, and there's Lydia from Parc Ferme taking a few photos of the celebrations with Ollie Behrman. Actually, I love that the 2 Parc Ferme girls are great to hang out with. They're a lot of fun. Anyway, yeah, like I said, I've got lunch with my parents and Ali. Nothing serious, don't worry about that. We're just having, catching up in a pub there down in South East London. So I'm going to wrap it up there, team. But hey, I'll see you back for the IndyCar. Hopefully most of you backbones join me for that one. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy watching the podium celebrations and probably cry emotionally on the floor watching Behrman take his trophy. So hey, have a good one, team, and I'll see you later on. Ta.